Another white cop is dead. Another black man holding the gun, this time in Greenville, South Carolina. It's not just cops anymore. Firefighters all over the country are also subject to black mob violence and black criminality when they respond to calls, whether it's individual attacks or mob attacks with rocks and bottles and threats. Let's take a look at the death of a cop and the attack on a firefighter.
This is everyone's worst nightmare.
Tonight, a community in shock. 28-year-old Officer Alan Jacobs gunned down by a 17-year-old self-described gang member. Jacobs was a decorated Iraq War veteran and father of two, with another child on the way.
Our hearts go out to that family, to his wife, his children, his parents.
Greenville's police chief said Jacobs and other officers simply stopped to talk to Deontay Mackey about a firearm when he took off running behind a house.
Mr. Mackey fled. We gave pursuit, and without demonstrating any force and without exacting any force, our officer was shot and killed, and then Mr. Mackey took his own life.
Mackey reportedly fired, hitting Jacobs multiple times. Chief Miller says Jacobs didn't even draw his weapon. His body found with his gun still in his holster. But Mackey apparently had time to shoot and alert his mother that he intended to commit suicide.
Mr. Mackey made a phone call, indicated he was going to take his life, and did it.
But not before killing Officer Jacobs, leaving the city with a huge void.
It's a sad day for Greenville. And it's a sad day even more for his family and for our family in the Greenville Police Department.
You want to see something weird? Here's another story from a few weeks ago about the same cop. This dude, Daryl Trayvon Johnson, ran the cop over with a car.
Video of the day, 2 San Diego firefighters were attacked with a knife while they were trying to help someone else. The video came out in court as a man accused in the crime starts his trial, and Fox 5's Sharon Chen lays out the case.
The attack on 2 firefighters caught on video. The body camera video from a transit officer shown in court on Monday. Ryan Allen Jones facing charges of attempted murder and assault for the attack.
He took with all his force that knife and plunged it into the body of Benjamin Vernon.
It happened June of last year when firefighters were called to the East Village trolley station to help a sick and drunk man.
No dispute about that, to the point where he actually stood up and fell down.
Deputy District Attorney Stephen Schott said Jones was also on scene. He was told to step back repeatedly but didn't listen. When Fire Captain Stephen Michaels got physical, prosecutors said that's when Jones got violent, coming back and attacking not 1 but 2 firefighters.
His hands were still raised with his medical gloves, facing out, trying to talk him down. This defendant then crouched and charged, and he stabbed Alexander Walbert in quick succession. Twice up here in the right shoulder area.
He was standing back when the fire captain called him over.
But the defense said the situation was in fact escalated by firefighters.
Fire captain who has a short fuse. He was already agitated that they had to respond to a boisterous, drunk individual.
Defense attorney Thomas Barr argued Jones was in fact trying to help. He pointed out Jones talking to the drunk man in the video. He argued Jones was giving information when the fire captain turned.
He shoved Mr. Jones over the bench with all his might down onto the ground. A deliberate move. An assault. That assault led to a melee, where it became 6-on-1.
A melee in which Barr said his client was forced to act in self-defense.
He thought he was going to get injured. He was in fear for his safety, for his well-being, for his life.
At that point, one of the jurors was so disgusted with the case and with the defense attorney for what he was saying, he said something in court like, "I'm tired of that guff." Meaning, he didn't want to hear any more crap about why people were going around stabbing firefighters. The judge replaced him. Let's take a look at a little bit more video from that scene.
I don't know why. I wasn't the one that pushed him.
Alberto Perez de Leon worked for MTS at the time. He says Jones punched him several times and he had no choice but to throw him over a railing.
We're struggling. My head's down and grabbing him like this, and we're struggling. And I used the fence for leverage to get him away from me.
While Brad and Vernon rushed over to help the guard and ended up getting stabbed several times. 10 News was there as medics wheeled Jones away, and he admitted to stabbing the men.
And why did you stab 2 firefighters?
Because they started kicking me.
In my little chocolate city of Wilmington, Delaware, the fire chief caused quite a stir when, on his first day on the job, he said he wanted to carry a handgun on his side. A big one. People were saying, "What the hell you're a fire chief. Why do you need a gun?" He tried to explain, but nobody really listened. But he didn't try to explain too much because he didn't want to say that even in Wilmington, just like other chocolate cities around the country, when firefighters respond to shootings or crime scenes, they're often met with hostile crowds. They throw rocks, bottles, they threaten. Often firefighters won't even go into a neighborhood unless they have a police escort. I was walking around town a few months ago and I saw couple of paramedics getting a sandwich, and I looked over. They were wearing bulletproof vests. They're paramedics. Now I understand that some of these ambulances have drugs in them, and they're the object of robberies and violence directed at that. But it's also something else. We've posted too many videos on this page. I've done too many stories and don't make the black kids angry. How firefighters and paramedics, first responders, are now getting the same kind of treatment that cops get, which is they're subject to sometimes very, very nasty, almost fatal violence like we saw on the streets of San Diego. And still Hillary and Bernie insist, along with the New York Times, I just saw one of their op-ed editors on TV, they insist that black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything, including why black people are always the subject of cops picking on them for no reason whatsoever. And now we have to add firefighters and paramedics to that list of people who are always picking on black people for no reason whatsoever, and that's why they got to stab them, throw rocks at them, bottles. Whatever. If you're ever down in Greenville or out in my old hometown of San Diego, hey, go grab a fish taco. They're good. But even in San Diego, I guess you have to start remembering this now. Don't make the black kids angry.